Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. So Paradox recently broke my strategy for KAISERIN Germany, and since this is one of my favorite paths, I decided to rework it, optimize it even further and make it more broken than ever. Moreover, this is the absolute best and easiest strategy to get the Woman in a High Castle achievement. If that sounds interesting, you're in the right place. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. I always read and reply to everyone, and make sure to join our Discord. And then as always guys, liking, subscribing and leaving a comment really helps the channel grow faster. That said, let's get started. A quick note before we start, I decided to record this video in the live version of the game and not in the latest open beta, since we do not know exactly how the beta will evolve in future. I made a video about it, so make sure to check it out. We also don't know when the beta will go live, and the biggest changes are likely to affect regimental companies and SPGs, but both can be adjusted as needed without affecting the overall strategy. Another thing I want to mention, this is mostly for the unedited version of the video. Now this is a very long run, and to make it a bit easier for myself, especially in the later parts of the run, I will be loading some saves, especially against the Soviet Union and the USA. So if you're watching the unedited version, keep that in mind, there will be some parts that are missing. And for consistency, since we're playing as Germany and turning non-aligned, I will try and reload my starting save rather than starting an entirely new run, because I would prefer the RNG to be the one that I had in this run, which is the most common, and it is an RNG in which we are able to take down the UK before they change ideology, and Italy does not have a civil war. In this run though, as you know, as always, when you change ideology as a major, it may be that some weird stuff happens in the world. And it could be the UK going communist, it could be France, although we take France down very quickly, so it shouldn't be the case. Italy is a bit later, so Italy might have a civil war and change ideology, and it might even be the Soviet Union. So we'll see what happens. As usual guys, all research and focus priorities are in the description, so they will not be covered in the edited version, and the dedicated spreadsheet covering all steps in detail is available to tier 2 members in our shared folder. This is our construction priority. We're also creating an agency right at the start, and in future we'll simply be building more military factories in the best available provinces, so I will not be mentioning it anymore. This is our military production priority. Keep in mind that I also changed the MIO for planes to this one, which is the best for Germany. And the naval production priority is the following. We're going to keep trade under control, but we're always going to ignore small deficits of 1 or 2. So we need to prepare for the civil war. We're not going to cheese it, and I'm not going to cheese it because as Germany we really don't need to. We can afford an honest civil war. Come on, we're already playing one of the strongest countries in the game. Not cheese. So we can gather the entire army and put them on a fallback line somewhere in here to be ready for the civil war. Then we also want to recruit the max amount of infantry divisions. Now, the infantry we are going to use is this one, which I renamed after a tier 4 member of the channel. In this case, Vegeta got our inf. And later on, Dr. Hoops will get our arm. For now, this is just a basic armored template for Germany. We'll make some adjustments later. We also want to gather and train all of our planes all the way up to regular, and we're also going to gather entirely our navy. For now we can train them. We're going to pick we mustn't. For the agency, we do not need any upgrades for the time being. But at 16 Navy experience, we are going to design our torpedo destroyers, which we'll be using for the rest of the run mostly. So this is the design we want to use. We can save it. We can add it to the production. All of the future dockyards will go to this design. Now, soon we will be getting into the civil war. There we go. So, Civil War started. As we start the Civil War, we are immediately going to deploy all of the infantry. We can cancel the additional one. We can use our spy to spy on northern Germany. This will help a little bit later in the run. Not super impactful, honestly. But we're also going to pick the Army Organization Expert and the Infantry Expert. These two will help. During the Civil War, we'll likely lack a lot of trade. We are going to mostly ignore it.
Angetreten. Angetreten.
So now we got some new divisions, these 24. These ones we can set on the entire front and give them an offensive line, but we'll not be pushing with them. Then we also got the new infantry. The new infantry and one of the mountaineers will be covering the northern part of the front. Something like this, offensive line like this. And the rest of the army, and especially the two armored divisions we have, will be set to push here in the south. Now ideally, I want the armored divisions to rush some of these victory points and to close this encirclement as soon as possible. So this one and this one will be pushing in here. Going to assign them all to our August. And we can also give him an offensive doctrine. This is a bit wasted because later on we'll lose him, but at least we have it during the Civil War. Now let's not forget about our planes. They might not be the best, but they can help. We mostly want to assign them to the armored divisions or the divisions in the south, but we also want some of them to be on the entire front to help defend it. So we're going to use our best generals in here. Here we can use the best defensive one. Here we can probably use Fedor. And let's also make sure they have the highest motorization priority. As for the Navy, we can stop training them and we can position them in here. So later on we'll have some shore bombardments when we push in the north. Yeah, I would very much prefer these light tanks to be up here, so I'll manually move it there. We're going to pick someone needs and to slow down a little bit because it's almost time to push. We don't want to wait for planning. There is not enough time, so we start pushing right now and we try to encircle the divisions in the south.
Angetreten. Greift weiter an. Zeigt es ihnen.
We can micro a little bit, nothing crazy is required. For example, here you can see there is an empty tile, so you can push in it.
Auf geht's.
You can also send these guys down here already.
Befehle.
And the faster we are at closing the encirclement south, the better. Nice. Got Nuremberg. And we got the encirclement. So at this point, I usually select these divisions and I reassign them to cover only the northern part of the front. That's under a bit more pressure usually. While we can focus these armored divisions and the rest of our divisions onto killing everybody down here.
Befehle. Bereit zum Ausrücken. Angetreten. Ausrücken.
In theory here, if you can go all the way to left. Here, if you can push up north a little bit more, that's actually convenient. Not strictly needed though. Yeah, if you see that they defend, you can also give up on that.
Ausrücken. Bereit. Ihre Befehle. Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit.
Okay, that's actually very nice.
Ihre Befehle.
Test.
Angetreten. Ausrücken. Befehle. Angetreten. Ausrücken. Ihre Befehle. Greift weiter an. Greift weiter an.
Okay, almost done down here. Now, once the southern encirclement is closed, we can focus on the north. We can set these divisions in these two tiles. Ready to push this area, especially along the coast where we have the navy.
Vorwärts, Männer. Ihre Befehle.
Here we are picking a new this thing.
Befehle.
Going to give them a staff office plan here, so we get some planning.
Zuhören. Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Need to be faster because Germany is starting to push us back down south. We can start all offensives, but the main one is the one here in the north. And you can see the navy is helping. Now, if you can break through with the light tank, that's going to be awesome, and you can use it to rush all of these very cool victory points. Of course, including Berlin. We'll be getting there soon.
Angetreten.
Now, as soon as we get to 20 army experience, we're going to pick the political loyalty spirit to boost our stability a little bit.
Befehle. es ihnen! Bereit zum Ausrücken. Zeigt es ihnen!
They are still stopping us from getting to Berlin.
Befehle? Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit zum Ausrücken. Ausrücken! Achtung! Bereit!
They were being a little bit slower, but as soon as we take Berlin, this should be done. So hopefully soon.
Zuhören! Ziel anvisiert. Bereit! Angetreten! Achtung!
There we go. Let's see. Yeah, it should be over very soon.
Zuhören!
Because Hitler will be dead. That should lower the requirements. We need maybe one more victory point.
Zuhören! Ausrücken!
Because we lost this one, sadly.
Angetreten!
We lost Nuremberg. That's actually bad. That's why. Okay. Done! Slightly later than usual, but still fine. We finished just as we completed this focus. I don't mind having a bit of a scrappy civil war, so it's a good representation of how it could be if it doesn't go well. In any case, I chose a focus priority that accounts for a bit of a scrappy civil war, so we have one more focus before we need to pick this one, for which you need to finish the civil war. Now, after the Civil War, we absolutely want to prioritize repairing the... Now, after the Civil War, we absolutely want to prioritize repairs, and especially we want to prioritize repairing the civilian factories. The faster we repair them, the faster we repair everything else. So, something like this should be fine. Let's go back to our military engineering vehicles. Yeah, if you're watching the unedited version, make sure you do that, because I didn't show it. Now, another thing we want to do at this point is we want to create a new template. We're going to create an empty one. And we're going to make it just some basic cav. And we're going to use for occupied territories in future. So local police force plus cav. Now we can merge our navy again and we can continue training it. We're also going to make some slightly better planes at this point. So our fighter will be changed into this design here. And our CAS will be changed into this design here. We're also going to gather and train our planes again. Then another change we want to make at this point is we're going to change this division into offs. Yeah, no, sorry, let me do that again. And also, sorry about this in the unedited version, but as always, I forgot to check the members of the channel. Okay, so we're going to duplicate our infantry. We're going to duplicate our infantry template. We're going to create a template that is going to be offs. For now, it remains the same, and I'm going to rename it after Gator Cat. We can change the icon though, make it a bit cooler. Okay, so for now it remains the same, but later on we will be changing it, and we want to recruit the max amount of these divisions. Should be like 22 or 23, depending on how it went in the Civil War. Ah, fuck. Yeah, my bad. Ah, okay, yes. Very important though, we want to put them on no location set. We don't want to deploy these divisions, so they must be on no location set. Once that is done, we are going to disband all of our divisions. That's these ones and these ones. These ones we cannot disband, but we'll get an event about that soon. Yeah, I'm 7 days later than in the original one, but that's okay. That's because we pushed all the way here, by the way. Sticking to Nuremberg might be a little bit safer, so you don't lose it. But I could have used the last stand, I just didn't pay attention. Okay, we can continue. When we get these, we are going to hang them. And then we're going to pick, perhaps we could simply blah blah blah. At 150 political power, we're going to pick the influential pastor. So far, by the way, guys, if you watch my older guide on KAISERIN Germany, nothing changed. So this part is the same. But we're going to make some changes very soon. So the first thing we're going to do right now is we're going to design an interwar SPG. this is the design we're going to use, and by the way, post nerfs in future, if SPGs are bad, we are just going to do the same thing, but as a medium tank. It's going to be a bit more expensive, but the concept remains exactly the same. For now, we make it an SPG. We're going to save it, we're going to produce it with the infantry tank designer. We want 6 factories on them, and we're going to take these factories away from infantry equip. Right, so next, let me check that first. Monarchist jurist, okay. Right, so next at 150 political power, we are going to pick the monarchist jurist. At 50 political power, we're going to pick Sharpen Air Safety Regulations. This is mandatory to get the KAISERIN, so it's very important. And now, over time, as we get army experience, we are going to slowly adjust our offs template. The primary thing that we want to do is we want to add the medium SPG or medium tank to it, and then slowly over time we will be adding 14-1. Okay, let me show you the final one. So eventually we want to get it to this design. Eventually we want to get the template to this one, though this is 70 army experience, we don't have it yet, so for the time being I'm going to add a medium SPG. I'm also going to make them... no, never mind. Now here we're going to pick, perhaps they have a point. And at the same time, we're going to start diplomatic pressure on the UK. We're going to improve relations with the UK. The goal is to get a non-aggression pact with them. We can now finally deploy and train our army. So we're going to do it right away. And we want a total of 24 of these offs. So we're going to train one more. If you may need more. If you need more, add more. And then also the max amount of inf.
Befehle. Befehle. Bereit. Bereit.
Our next target will be the Netherlands, so we can start preparing for it. As we do that, though, we also want to train these units all the way up to regular. Adjust our we can adjust our offs a bit more. As soon as we get the military engineering vehicles, we want to start producing them. We're going to assign... Let me do it properly. We're going to assign one factory to them, taken from Infantry Equip.
Ihre Befehle.
Now here we want to deploy our divisions as soon as possible, so keep doing that. Ah, for fuck's sake. Are you kidding me? Of course, our spy got caught while on diplomatic pressure, which is insane. Should be fine, though.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Our offs are ready. I see some democracy in the Soviet Union. It might be a problem at some point. UK seems fine. Italy seems fine. It might be the Soviet Union that gets fucked. Now, guys, in this run, since the later part of this run is pretty long and time consuming, I will be loading a save to fight the Soviet Union and the United States, which might mean if the Soviet Union changes ideology here, it might be slightly different in the save we load, but nothing too big. Okay, we can finally get our non-aggression pact with the UK. And our offs is basically ready. And this is already a very good template. Okay, so around this time you will be picking this focus. This focus is to get a guaranteed from the UK, but especially it is mandatory to get the KAISERIN. They need to accept. The chances that the UK accepts is 89%. However, sometimes of course they don't accept, and I'm sure some of you will get that. Now you don't need to restart the whole run if they don't accept, but making a backup save now would be very important, so we're going to do that. So now we pick this focus. If they refuse, you can reload this save and then you can pick another focus before this one. You can find it in the description. If you pick this one right away, it will likely not change the outcome. But if you reload, pick something. But if you reload, pick Realpolitik, which is only 14 days, and then pick this one, then they should accept. Unless you're extremely unlucky, which I'm sure some of you are. But another thing I want to do at this point is I will stop training the Navy because we are starting to lack fuel massively and we will need some fuel later on.
Zuhören! Zuhören!
Now let's see if the UK behaves or not. Come on, UK. Don't be annoying, please. Fantastic. Okay, they accepted. Again, this is the most likely outcome, but you never know.
Bereit!
And now, as soon as you complete this focus, or in any case, as soon as you get to 400 political power, we need to pick a series of decisions, which will give us the KAISERIN. First of all, we go for this decision here, reinstate the prince, then modernize the succession laws. Then request restoration, and very soon we should pick the focus first before I forget. And then very soon we will get an event, and we will pick we shall send a liaison. And what this does is it murders the poor Wilhelm. Bye bye. And it gives us the KAISERIN Victoria. Now at this point we can use our spy to spy on France, and then we want to keep an eye on the army. We should gradually be getting a lot more, we don't need the Danish, a lot more infantry guns, a lot more infantry equipment, and as we get it we want to deploy these divisions and train a lot more of them. So again, we deploy as soon as possible. And ideally we want to have 48 infantry divisions, so another 6 for this one and then another 24. It will take a while to get them, but it doesn't matter.
Ihre Befehle? Bereit?
Okay, war between Japan and China. This is useful. We want to send an attaché to Japan. We don't have the political power yet, but we can already start improving relations a bit. Yeah, that's enough. We can stop. And we can send the attaché. Now we're going to pick a tactic here, and then we want to make some adjustments to our army HQ. The main adjustment here is we don't want to use light tanks because they use supplies. We want to use motorized instead. So we're going to make this change. Later on we will add something else, but for now we're happy with the HQ support, so we can save it. And we can deploy them.
Ihre Befehle! Bereit? Zuhören!
And now pick the flame tank. I don't need to say that.
Befehle?
Now we need to be ready because as soon as we complete this focus, we need to declare war on the Netherlands. Not that it is a big challenge, but we still need to do it. So this will give us a claim on the Dutch East Indies in particular. Let's not forget to assign our planes. They can always help. And let's make a save. Now, I'll mention quickly what we're doing with Navy doctrines. We start with selective engagement. The next priority will be torpedo primacy, then line of battle, then you can pick the fleet operations and the light task forces. We're also going to pick the branch independent spirit at this point. And let's stop training for the time being. And look at how perfectly on sync we are at this point. Now we need to take down the Netherlands quickly, and I would recommend declaring war on the Dutch East Indies, not on the Netherlands. It's slightly easier because you pull them into the war as well. We can start the offensives right away. Let's try also to micro a little bit so that we quickly get to the victory points because we need to cap them fast. Rearmament has always been our goal, of course.
Achtung! Befehle!
Now, our divisions here are not fully equipped. Oh, we can deploy these guys meanwhile.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
So as you can see, the strength is not at 100% yet, and we lack and we still lack some SPGs. However, the advantage of having SPGs in there is that we get some decent armor, especially more armor than the enemy piercing. That's very nice to
Bereit
have,
zum Ausrücken.
and it will make these initial wars a lot faster and easier. And we need to keep an eye on the date, because before the 20th of September, we need to declare war on France. And by then, the Netherlands should be down easily, but still better to keep an eye on it.
Angetreten.
So now we can prepare for Belgium.
Ausrücken.
Let's get in position.
Angetreten. Zuhören.
We're going to annex the Netherlands. We're going to take the navy, and then we're going to puppet the Dutch East Indies, and also Curaçao and Suriname. Then of course we take resource rights. That's a lot of rubber for us.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Okay, now we're ready for France. We already have a claim on France, and Belgium will join, which is the most important thing. However, before we do that, we also want to go in here and we want to create a faction. Now, this is very unfortunate if you do not have no compromise, no surrender, because Paradox made it so that non-aligned countries can no longer justify claims if the war tension is too low. So that will significantly affect this run. Unfortunately, I don't have a solution for you, because we are Germany, we are the main people who create war tension, and if we don't create war tension, because we cannot justify claims, then it's hard to raise it. So yeah, this unfortunately is needed. So we're going to create a shield against the red, because this one, let's create it. I will dedicate it to Paradox, since they made it so that you can no longer justify war goals without the faction, so they deserve it, the faction to be entitled after them. We're going to create it, and the reason I like this one is that you already start with a justify war goal tension reduction, which is very, very nice for us. Not only that, we actually also start with some easy goals. So we're going to pick strategic resources here, and we are going to pick declare war on democracy here. This is the easiest one ever, because we're going to declare war on democracy right now. By the way, by creating the faction, we also lose the guarantee from the UK. So you want to create a faction right when you attack France, so you don't risk any guarantees getting involved.
Angetreten.
So, war on France, therefore Belgium, we start pushing immediately. We get our faction point, which we can use for a joint command structure. Okay, so we can also justify, we can also declare war on the puppets of France, and at the same time we want to start justifying a claim on Italy and on Luxembourg as soon as possible.
Befehle? Weiter, weiter!
Belgium is gone.
Zuhören!
Now, with France, let's not get trigger happy. We do not want to capitulate France. Funnily enough, in my last test run, this was the hardest part of the run, not capitulating France. So it's actually not that difficult. We just need to make sure that we do not take too many victory points, including Paris. We don't want to take Paris. Though, ideally, I would like to encircle Paris so we can end the war whenever we want. For the time being, we can start pushing into France. I forgot what I was picking here. Ah, Spy Master later. Okay, for now, nothing.
Bereit. Angetreten. Zuhören.
Going to annex Belgium. We annex almost everything in Europe since we can eventually core everything here. Okay, now it's time to be a little bit careful here. Stop the offensive and micro. So we don't want to take Paris. We also don't want to take Le Havre, it's a bit risky.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Ausrücken. Ihre Befehle. Ausrücken.
Let's keep an eye here. We absolutely don't want them to capitulate.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Ausrücken. Bereit zum Ausrücken. Achtung.
Okay, Paris encircled. We should be fully in control now. We just want to stabilize the front.
Angetreten. Bereit zum Ausrücken.
And of course we prepare for the final push later on whenever we are ready.
Angetreten.
Let me explain this move, by the way. What we're waiting for is this focus here. We can bypass this one while we're at war with France, and then we can get this one to get a claim on Switzerland. Now, this is the fastest way to get a claim on Switzerland. Otherwise, if you were to justify, it literally takes forever. So that's why we are waiting to cap France. If you capitulate France, you can no longer bypass this one, and you remain locked out of this.
Achtung! Achtung! Ihre Befehle!
I'm going to train a bit more while we wait peacefully in front of France. Bypass this one. Nine. Nice. Around this time we should also be able to pick our favorite Grand Assault sub-doctrine. Okay, we're about to get the claim on Switzerland, which means we can now push.
Befehle.
Was a bit closer. Maybe I could have been a bit more careful. Do wait until the very last day, because if you cap France too fast, then this focus will cancel, which is not ideal. But with France, we're going to annex the course, and then I usually balkanize everything else. And also, of course, we need to take the navy. That's very important. Finally. Okay, we're happy here. Now let's not forget to justify the claim on Luxembourg. Yeah, which I did forget to do. Could have done that a bit earlier. That's going to be fine. At this point, we're going to start spying on the UK, and then we're going to use a little trick to get dominance easily on the UK. Now, this trick is called pre-war dominance. Now, we will be able to declare war on the UK soon, because we have a claim on Portugal, and we have a claim on Siam. And ideally, at least one of the two, and then there is also Switzerland, should be guaranteed by the UK. In this case, Portugal is guaranteed by the UK. However, we will wait a little bit longer, because I would also like Czechoslovakia to guarantee one of these countries, so we can be at war with Czechoslovakia as well.
Angetreten.
So we're going to use our oaths to take care of the UK.
Ausrücken.
And position them in here, then we're going to plan our naval invasion. 2 groups of 6. One goes here.
Bereit.
And one goes here.
Bereit.
The other infantry armies we need at the border with Czechoslovakia. Now, if we need to declare war on Switzerland, we may also need one at the border with Switzerland, but for the time being, we set them at the border with Czechoslovakia.
Befehle.
Okay, so in terms of the navy, we are going to split off the submarines. We're going to send them here. And then the rest of the Navy, we split off the destroyers. We keep the rest on strike force. Let's get at least destroyer leader, lance, loading drill master if possible. So some good traits on the admiral. Position them all in Le Havre. And we set the destroyers on patrol in the channel and the rest on strike force in the channel. Submarines, we split them into groups of 1 and we set them on convoy raiding around the UK. We also want all of our planes to be positioned well and especially to be on naval strike and naval patrol in the English Channel. As you can see, we have dominance because we are not at war with the UK, and whenever we are ready, we declare war on the UK and we trigger the naval invasions immediately. And this is something this is a little trick you can use even as minor countries, as long as you have the opportunity to attack the UK before being at war with them, or to plan the invasion of the UK before you're at war with them. Now, what I don't like here is... Oh, nice. Czechoslovakia is guaranteeing Switzerland, so we can get Czechoslovakia as well with the same war. Now, it would have been better if Czechoslovakia guaranteed Siam. Ah, they do guarantee Siam. Czechoslovakia, you're amazing. Lovely, lovely work. So that's perfect. And we need to wait a little bit longer for the UK because we want 150 political power. Okay, we're almost there, meaning it's a good idea to stop training our divisions now and to trigger this naval invasion. And then it's time for the wars. I love the consistency, guys. If you're watching the unedited version, look at how consistent this is. And this is what I love about these guides. Ah, speaking of consistency, oh, good job. Good, Joseph. Good, Joseph. You're doing an amazing job repressing democracy. It looks like everything is fine then. Okay, so war on Portugal, this will bring the UK in, and then war on Siam, this will bring Czechoslovakia in. That's perfect. Then later on, we need to remember to declare war on Switzerland as well, to tag them in the peace conference. However, we don't need to do it now, and this way we don't need to defend an additional front. As you can see, Yeah, no, I will annex Siam or puppet them in the peace conference, so we don't need to accept surrender. As you can see, the naval invasion triggers immediately.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
That said, I would still maybe put this now. It's okay, whatever. As long as the naval invasion triggers, we're happy. We don't need to particularly fight the Royal Navy. In fact, we're going to steal it, so if it survives, it's better. Also, the UK is absolutely not prepared to defend from our naval invasion. This is one of the easiest naval invasions of the UK ever. In fact, it's going to be more annoying to take down Czechoslovakia than to take down the UK. That said, speed is always very important. And let's not forget to pick war economy. This is the only chance we have to do so. And that's why we waited for 150 political power. Let's not underestimate the UK. Let's never underestimate the UK, and let's push quickly. And let's also not forget the big Navy doctrines. They can help a lot.
Angetreten.
Look at our Navy actually holding up quite well against the Royal Navy.
Angetreten. Angetreten. Bereit. Befehle. Ausrücken!
Yeah, we'll need a little bit more political power now. For the time being, we cannot pick the focus.
Befehle. Achtung! Angetreten! Befehle! Zuhören! Achtung! Befehle!
Okay, 25 political power. It's needed to seize gold. I would recommend seizing the French gold because we will need to pick a few focuses that require consumer good factories to be a bit lower.
Angetreten. Ausrücken.
We can just capitulate the UK quickly.
Ihre Befehle.
Sadly, Czechoslovakia is considered a major, so after capitulating the UK, we will still need to take care of Czechoslovakia.
Befehle. Angetreten. Angetreten.
Goodbye, UK. Goodbye. Smoothest ever invasion of the UK. Okay, so now the annoying part, probably the most annoying part, is capitulating Czechoslovakia because they have very good forts. As it's known, the only place that is not fortified is this tile here. So pushing from this area may be beneficial. However, it's also tricky, so you might as well need to push. So you might need to push the whole front. Here we also lack supplies, so that's hard. This can help a little bit.
Angetreten. Ihre Befehle.
Now, we need to capitulate Czechoslovakia before the UK invades itself again. So being fast would be beneficial.
Ihre Befehle.
Can also spy on them.
Angetreten. Befehle.
Either way, in principle, I would recommend pushing from the north, as that should be the easiest. And now it would be a good time to send the planes back to the army. It would be needed.
Angetreten.
Yeah, the UK doesn't give up. They got the Royal Navy almost completely destroyed in here. Because they couldn't accept defeat.
Zuhören. Befehle.
Yeah, I would like to have a staff office plan, but we don't have enough command power, sadly.
Angetreten.
So we do need the organization and planning to push into Czechoslovakia, unfortunately.
Bereit. Ihre Befehle. Befehle.
Okay, so I'm going to move one army at the border with Switzerland, so we can declare war on Switzerland too, and hopefully they will join the Allies. If we do it too late, they might not join the Allies. They need to capitulate them, which is annoying.
Ihre Befehle.
But we are ready for Czechoslovakia, so let's start this offensive. And especially let's focus on this only tile without forts. See if we can get it done.
Ihre Befehle.
Okay, looks like we broke through in a couple of places already. Let's declare war on Switzerland as well.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit. Ihre Befehle.
It's actually a nice encirclement here. Lovely. Fortified encirclement, but still an encirclement.
Ausrücken.
Nice, Switzerland joined the Allies. So we just need to capitulate Czechoslovakia, and we are done.
Angetreten.
This, by the way, doesn't happen if you don't have the Czechoslovakia DLC. Czechoslovakia should not be a major and they should not guarantee a round. If that's the case, you can still take Czechoslovakia a bit later in the run through a focus that we would otherwise skip. Okay, yeah, now it would be a very nice time to go down Czechoslovakia. How close are we? Not the closest. But with Bratislava it should be over. No, it's not. Where do you have a capital? There.
Ihre Befehle. Befehle.
Yeah, I do expect Czechoslovakia to go down like now. Yes! So with Czechoslovakia capitulated, the Allies are done. And right on time we got our artillery upgrade, which means we can make the new tanks. But for the time being, let's annex Czechoslovakia, let's annex Switzerland, let's annex the cores of the UK. All of this stuff is very cool because it can be cored by us through the European Union, which is fantastic. Okay, and that's the important part. Make a save just in case, you never know. Now we can puppet the rest. Portugal we can also core actually, so let's annex Portugal. Funniest part of the run, when you need to click 1 billion times resource rights, 1 billion times war operations. That's just fantastic. And now let's take the navy of everybody and become absolutely insane. So here is our German Empire. Insane German Empire. We're not done yet, because as you can see here, in just a few days we'll get a claim on Italy. We want to leave my old country in peace? I don't think so. So and do some convoy raiding around Italy, just in case, just to piss them off. Why the fuck do you stay there? Okay. Yeah, we can do some convoy raiding around Italy, just in case, and we can set the rest of our fleet on patrol in here, so we can split them into a couple. So they will be providing some shore bombardment bonuses to our army. So to push Italy, we're going to go straight from this area here. It's a bit painful because of the lack of supplies and mountains, but we'll get it done. We can set another army here with them, and we can set another army here at the border with Switzerland. More importantly, it's time to design the new SPGs. this is the design we are going to use, 9 engine, 4 armor. I'm also going to design a light tank, since we're going to use it a little bit. We're going to use this design for the light tank. We can save it. Now we're also going to pick the motorization drive spirit here, and now we're going to make some adjustments to our armored template. Well, it's not fully done yet, but we will add one more SPG here, then we'll add some of the regimental companies and support companies. It's going to be quite expensive, but guys, we need to have some fun. We made an insane Germany, now it's time to have fun with it. We can make this elite. Dr. Hoops, you will kick some asses today, and we can save you. Now, one thing that is very important here is we want to make sure that there is no foreign equipment used, otherwise it can mess up the stats, especially the speed. And then we're going to recruit 12 Dr. Hoops in Berlin. Now we need to adjust the production a bit too. The truck. I think we already have the... We already have the flame tank, right? Yeah, we do. Now, as soon as possible, it might be a little bit later depending on your special projects. We also want to design the flame tank. We're going for something like this. We can save it. We can start producing it. Dedicate one factory to it. We take it from SPGs, and this is the new production priority at this point of the run. All right. Now, we also want to improve relations with Austria and with Hungary. I'm also going to assign a lot more harbors to repairs. Guys, you know air doctrines already. We go for airspace dominance, followed by pinpoint strikes, then the rest doesn't matter.
Bereit.
So at this point, we should have enough faction points to create a theater. This can be nice to do, so let's do it. And this will grant us some minor bonuses where we fight. That's nice. But at the same time, we need to promote a new general as soon as possible. Why can I not promote anyone? Well, this one has decent supply consumption, so I guess we go for him.
Befehle. Ihre Befehle? Ihre Befehle?
Okay, we got our claim on Italy, which is fantastic.
Angetreten.
And at 50 political power, we also want to pick this decision here, sway public opinion in Austria. Now we also want to upgrade our agency. We're going for 3 upgrades. I usually do suicide peels, air and naval departments. And then we can spy on Italy for the time being. But as soon as we get the extra spies, we're going to use them to get collaboration governments in the Soviet Union. In fact, no, sorry. Let's already start spying on the Soviet Union. Let me do that again. So we're going to also start spying on the Soviet Union. We're going to dedicate 3 spies to that. Now, after you get 3 upgrades, you can use some of these faction points to become the spy master and then to unlock all of this stuff here. You will get a lot of spies, which will allow us to get collaboration governments at the same time in the Soviet Union and in the United States, which will really, really help when it comes to capitulating them. But before that, we have to take care of Italy. So let's take care of Italy. Oh no, Chile embargoed me. What will I do?
Befehle. Achtung! Ziel anvisiert.
course, Italy will not last very long against our very good divisions. We need to make sure to deploy... Yeah, not yet.
Angetreten. Bereit.
Now, here there is a bit of RNG in the sense that Italy might have had a civil war at this point. We are trying to take them down as fast as possible, but because we changed ideology as a major, there is a chance that Italy changes ideology, which is not ideal. In that case, you might need to justify an additional claim, or you might actually need to use this focus to get a claim on them.
Zuhören. Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Okay, now let's make sure to deploy our armored template as soon as possible. We can set them around Luxembourg. They can push Luxembourg later when we get the claim. And we can maybe finish adjusting them as well. We need to add the flame tank. We're going to add the armored recon in here, and then we can add some infantry guns down here.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Make sure to train them.
Achtung! Befehle!
Benito is down. Benito is down. No.
Bereit?
We also need to use the assault engineers. Okay, civil war in Italy. We're going to keep the occupied territory. It's an annoying civil war because they took the region in the north, not in the south. This will make it a bit more annoying to capitulate Italy. We may need to go all the way to Sicily, which is not ideal. We'll get there.
Ihre Befehle? Bereit! Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit! Ihre Befehle!
Yeah, so normally Italy would have capitulated by this point, but because we got the puppet in the north, it's more annoying. Let's see if we can cross the Strait of Messina. Then it's no problem. If we cannot, it can be a little bit annoying.
Bereit!
It's all good. We can now finally finish our And now with the Assault Engineer Company, this template is basically done. We will add logistics later on, but this will be our template for the later part of the run. You can save it.
Ihre Befehle? Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Autarky achieved is huge, boys, because now our consumer good factories just disappear. Italy, can you please capitulate? Would be very, very kind of you. There we go, Italy down. We're going to annex the cores of Italy. And then we can puppet the rest. And take their navy, because our navy is not big enough. Let's go. Yeah, this is very ugly, but it's fine.
Angetreten. Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Okay, so the next target is possibly going to be Austria if they refuse. So let's get ready for Austria.
Befehle. Achtung.
But as we do all of these, we're going to start constantly training our divisions. The idea is to get as much army experience as possible. Equipment will not be an issue, so we can afford to keep them on constant training.
Bereit.
Also, you will probably not need the destroyers anymore. You can just make convoys. You also don't particularly need convoys, but up to you. Right, we also got Albania. At 150 political power, we are going to pick... let me check that I didn't miss anything though. Yeah, that's correct. We're going to pick the minister... Where is it? We're going to pick the minister of... we're going to pick the Minister of Food and Agriculture. Now, let's check our collaboration situation in here. Okay, it's a bit later. So we should be getting our claim on Luxembourg. We should be getting our claim on Luxembourg fairly soon. I'm slightly late because I forgot to justify the claim. So we're probably like 20 days late or something like that. Not a big deal. Okay, now with this naval department, we got the required things to appoint a spy master. Let's make sure that we also have that as a faction goal. Yeah, I didn't put it. Appoint a spy master. Sad we use a faction point for that. I forgot to do it earlier. Either way, it doesn't change that much. So we can become the spy master. Can assign a guy here. We can unlock this one. Another guy. Unlock this one. We get another one. Get this one. That's a lot of spies coming our way. These spies will be 3 of them in the Soviet Union, collabs on cooldown. 3 of them in the United States, in the Hawaii, collabs on cooldown. The other ones are free to do whatever you want.
Bereit.
Okay. Already start the first collab. Okay, Austria refused, that's better, so we get our claim on Austria. We also get cores on Austria by doing this, we can invade them right away. Of course, this is not a real war. More importantly though, we need to get ready for Luxembourg. Yeah, now that's when we should have gotten the claim. Logistics company, this one is important because we want to add it to our Dr. Hoops. Now it's done. Oh yes, let's not forget, actually Logistics is a very good company to have as a support company, as an HQ support company, so let's add it too. So let's add it here too. First we're going to annex Austria, being our core. Perfect. And we're going to take Luxembourg, and as we take Luxembourg, we also want to justify claims on Yugoslavia and on Ireland at the same time. And we also need an army to be ready to invade Ireland. We can send an infantry army here. Luxembourg is being destroyed by our training armored divisions. Done. Perfect. Now we can get ready for Yugoslavia.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Achtung.
In the meantime, we keep training everybody constantly. Useless stuff, by the way. If you're watching the unedited version, it's just I don't know what to do with that point, but it's useless. Okay, of course we next Luxembourg. And so it begins. So our attaches will, so China will start demanding us to yeah, let me do that again. So China will start, and the Chinese warlords will again. So the Chinese warlords will start. The Chinese warlords will start complaining about. I cannot speak anymore. Okay, let's stop. That's it. That's it. GG. Maybe I don't even need to say that, but. When you get the message about attaches, you can just use the usual trick. Not fun, but useful. So you negotiate market access a few times until it becomes free to keep our attaches.
Zuhören!
You will get a lot of these messages. Okay. I think we get more at some point. We're saving some political power because as soon as we get the European Confederation, we can as soon as we get the European Confederation, we can do some cool stuff. Alright, time for collabs in the US. Now, normally, it's super expensive to keep up two collaboration governments at the same time, but it's fine. We are OP, so we can afford it. Right, almost there, boys. European Confederation. Unfortunately, we cannot form the European Union yet. That's why we have been saving some political power. We need to pick these two decisions here, and especially this one is mandatory. We're also going to improve relations with Greece. Albania, if it still exists, in this case you don't need to, and Bulgaria. Now, the other thing we're waiting for is our claims. Right after getting these claims, we need to justify a war goal on Poland, but not yet. Let's stop training these divisions as soon we will need to use them. There we go. Okay. Immediately war on Yugoslavia and therefore also Romania. Let's make sure we have all of the possible planes in here. Equally split between our two offensive templates. And let's start pushing.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Bereit. Befehle.
Supplies are the main issue in the area. Something we can deal with. Oh, by the way, we can also train our fleet in the meantime.
Zuhören.
Okay, we got our claim on Ireland too, so let's go for it. And at the same time, we're going to justify our goal on Poland.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
I feel like it's taking forever to take down Yugoslavia. 4K casualties. That's crazy. It's way too much.
Befehle. Angetreten.
Okay, this is very important. Italy is next and Hungary becomes our puppet. Both things are great, but the main one is Italy accepted, which means we can now realize European unity in March 1939. This is huge because all of this stuff will be cored and a lot of additional stuff is now coreable. So to core the additional stuff, well, the first thing we can do easily is as soon as we take down Ireland, we'll be able to core the UK, the British Isles. And that's huge. Expansion into the Isles is called, okay.
Bereit.
These are the Italian divisions which were here, which is fantastic. I don't want them.
Achtung.
Unification of Europe. Now this will give us insane industry. We'll take care of it in just a second. First, let's annex Ireland so we can also integrate the Isles. The UK will become our core immediately, or better in 70 days, but that's still fantastic. Okay, time to adjust the production. Okay, so here is our new insane production priority. We certainly don't lack factories. We'll get a lot more soon as well. Now we're going to buff our offensive infantry a little bit too. We can give them the assault engineers, we can give them the flame tank, we can give them logistics, and we can give them the armored recon company. So this is also a fantastic template now. Finally, we are going to invite Greece and Bulgaria to Paradox, our fantastic faction, and keep in mind that if Albania is available, you would also invite Albania. And the last thing we want to do here is we want to annex Hungary, so we're also going to pick this one. We can also pick this.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Okay, now I would be very happy if Yugoslavia capitulated quickly. That would be beneficial. Thank you. That's very nice of you. And now it's time for Romania. Now, a little annoying thing is here when you puppet... an annoying thing is when you puppet Hungary, they actually join the war, make a bit of a mess. But it's fine.
Angetreten. Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Now also got puppet Greece and puppet Bulgaria.
Ihre Befehle. Bereit zum Ausrücken. Befehle! Bereit! Vorrücken!
Yeah, we need more military factories. The amount of factories you get in this run doesn't make any sense. It's like, it's insane.
Ihre Befehle? Zuhören! Bereit! Ausrücken! Ausrücken!
Why do you need to mess up my front every time? Come on. Don't need to.
Achtung!
And goodbye, Romania, I believe. Hopefully soon. Goodbye, Romania. Can annex Romania as well. Can be very happy, and now we're waiting for the claim on Poland, so we can already get ready to disintegrate Poland very quickly.
Zuhören! Bereit zum Ausrücken! Ihre Befehle?
Okay, from now on, army experience is going to be used on the doctrines. We are going for assault infantry, followed by self-propelled support, followed by streamlined deployment, and finally we're going to pick maneuver warfare. We go back to training constantly. Yeah, more spies, more spies. Okay, Hungary and next. That's also very important because after we complete this focus, we can also restore the Holy Roman Empire. This run is just insane. You also get these 3 hot guys that you will never be able to remove, so you get to keep them forever. And that's very fun and happy. While the construction priority is free, at this point of the run I would recommend, since military factories are really not needed, I'd recommend upgrading instead some of the stuff up here. Railways, supply hubs, this will have a bigger impact later in the run.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Okay, almost ready for the Holy Roman Empire. Oh my god. Okay, we got a claim on Poland. So let's make sure to disintegrate Poland quickly. Oops, what about training? It's okay, and as we get restore Holy Roman Empire, we can immediately do it since we are next Hungary. Let's go for it. This gives us some additional cores as well, so... And also we get to beat a very cool Holy Roman Empire. June 1939, boys. European Union and Holy Roman Empire. How cool is that? So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to guarantee the independence of Finland so that when the Soviet Union attacks them, we can join that war. That will force the Soviet Union into an offensive war, which is much better than us attacking them in terms of capitulating them fast. With 3 collaboration governments and a defensive war on our side, it will be very easy to capitulate the Soviet Union. Now, we also want to recruit another 12 arm. And another 72 infantry divisions. Yeah, we cannot do it right away. We can do it over time. We'll force deploy and train more. Okay, we can now push the poor Polish people. We can now push Poland. Poor guys don't stand a chance. Bye, Poland. We're going to annex Poland as well.
Ihre Befehle? Achtung! Befehle! Zuhören! Bereit zum Ausrücken! Angetreten! Bereit! Befehle! Angetreten!
This last part of the run is not really challenging, but it is a bit slow. It's slow to get there, and there are a few more focuses. You have everything in the description, and also this part of the run isn't significantly different from how it was in the old guide. So I'm sorry, especially for those watching the unedited version. I know you like to see the full run unedited, but at this time, to save some of my time, we will be loading a more advanced save. I will show you the setup to capitulate the Soviet Union easily, and then I will show you the setup to capitulate the United States easily. Okay, so here we skipped ahead just a few months. This is when the Soviet Union declared war on Finland. In my run, they did it a bit later than normal. We guaranteed Finland, so they called us into their war. So let me just quickly show you the setup. All of the divisions were already being recruited. We're just positioning them where they should be. We have an army ready to push into Latvia. We're going to get the claim on Latvia through focuses. However, if Latvia is guaranteed by annoying countries, it could be Norway, or it could be even worse, Chile, then I would recommend skipping on Latvia, ignoring them and just going for the Soviet Union. Other than that, we have a huge martial army with a lot of regular infantry, so 5 full armies of infantry. These guys are on a martial line along the entire front. Then we have our offs ready to push into the Soviet Union. And again, we have 2 full armored divisions ready to push into the Soviet Union. Nothing new, the templates are the ones I showed you earlier. So there is this one, there is this one, and then there is the regular infantry as this one. So since we are probably not going to push into Latvia here, I'm going to actually reassign these divisions down here. I actually prefer not to invite Finland into our faction, but we do join the war with them.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
And we can start pushing already, immediately.
Angetreten.
Yeah, there is nobody. I was wondering, like, where are the bubbles? Where are the fighting? Where is the fighting? There is no fighting, because the Soviet Union was not ready for us.
Zeigt es ihnen! Angetreten.
In the meantime, we are using political power to invite more people, annex more people, so we already got Iran, Saudi Arabia, Iraq into our faction. That's true focuses, so again, not much to explain there.
Weiter, weiter!
Let's go here too.
Achtung!
They got messed up, right? Of course they did. Of course they did.
Achtung! 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 Befehle! Zeigt es ihnen! Greift weiter an! Angetreten!
I might have found a job for the 3-hat guys.
Vorrücken! Zuhören! Bereit zum Ausrücken!
Well, this is a very wide encirclement. It's actually a pretty cool one, honestly. Now at this point of the run, I sometimes also add one SPG to the infantry, so that the infantry can push a bit more effectively too. This infantry is not made to push, but they can push if you give them some equipment. At this point of the run, you would also, as soon as you unlock them, like we did now, start producing a lot of mechanized, so later in the run we can go full mechanized armies.
Zuhören.
As you can see here, Norway is guaranteeing the independence of Latvia. I don't like that, so we will not attack Latvia in this run because of that.
Ihre Befehle? Bereit.
This is mostly a showcase of how easy it is to capitulate the Soviet Union. I don't mean to optimize this, just again,
Befehle?
a quick idea.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Ausrücken.
And because this is a defensive war, we just need to bring them down to less than 51%, which is actually amazing if you think about it. You usually need to take the Soviet Union down much more than that. So 3 collabs plus the defensive war really do the trick.
Achtung.
And here we can go Stalingrad very quickly. No, Moscow is already down.
Achtung.
I can go Leningrad quickly. And that should already be enough with Stalingrad as well.
Ihre Befehle?
Oh, Leningrad is already down. That was the last collab, by the way.
Achtung.
There goes Stalingrad. Are we happy? We're very happy. So Soviet Union capitulated. It is only June 1940. Probably we got some casualties, but I mean 47k. What do we care about? And yeah, that's it. The game is dead, but the Soviet Union is dead, which is more important. And also, we went too fast, so we didn't see it. They got a white piece with Finland, which I generally prefer, so they don't have any score. We don't have any score to share with Finland. And by the way, after you annex the Soviet Union, since we have the collabs, it's better to annex them. After you annex the Soviet Union, technically you can invite Finland to your faction, and then you can also slowly integrate them like everybody else, so you can also annex them if you want to. Okay, then time for the United States. So at this point we would be moving into Canada and into this part of Canada that I annexed, but I actually generally called Canada as well into the war to make it faster. So it doesn't matter if you didn't annex this, like I did in the run I recorded. Let me briefly show you how this works. Very simple. You guys understand why I'm skipping this. Let me know in the comments if you don't like this kind of skipping during setups in the later part of the runs. But my idea is that my runs always end very early. And if we do this, I can afford to show you a bit more without spending hours and hours recording and then editing. So we're done with the Soviet Union. As you can see, it's just slightly later. Again, we skipped ahead just a few months. I can show you the setup for the United States. So we don't have supplies, but that's okay. We push with the armored divisions in here. We also have our offensive divisions ready to push in this part of the United States. The goal is to take Seattle, then ideally San Francisco, and then maybe even Los Angeles if needed. We're going to call Canada, but we are not going to defend Canada. And then we have all of the infantry set to defend positions in this area, of course, with all of the planes and such. And in terms of the Navy, we split it in a more or less balanced way to protect convoys and to patrol the coast of the United States. Getting convoys over is the most important thing, of course. We got our claim through a normal justification, nothing too fancy here. And we can immediately start all of our offensives against the United States. Oh yes, and we're also going to call Canada into this.
Ihre Befehle?
Here I do believe that my infantry already had the SPG, yes.
Zuhören.
Right. so infantry can actually push decently well. Our divisions are too good, so I mean, this is also why I don't generally showcase these parts of the run. It's because, as you can see, there isn't much of a point. It's just steamrolling everybody very, very quickly. I'd say we can push with infantry too, make it faster. And here, if possible, we can rush San Francisco. Yeah, we're getting a lot of perks for the Navy and so on.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Zuhören.
Again, this war is not a defensive war, but we only need to take them down to 35% thanks to the collaboration governments. And even without Mexico, Mexico would make things easier. But even without Mexico, as you can see, this is very smooth. And if you want, you can go to Los Angeles. It depends which one is faster. Going to Los Angeles is faster in this case, so the United States is already down. And you can annex them. And this is the requirement to get a woman in a high castle. So by annexing or puppeting, but I would annex them with 3 collabs. It's always better. You get the achievement, and I mean, you just get to absolute insanity at this point of the run. It's just like... completely crazy. And so, boys, the United States is now the Holy Roman Empire. It is only December 1940. December 1940. We have 1,338 factories. We have infinite manpower. And we got the woman in a high castle achievement. Now, this is the best build for Germany. This is as powerful as Germany can be. And it is not fascist Germany. It is non-aligned secret path KAISERIN Germany. This is a fantastic run. I could not accept that Paradox broke it. I had to rework it. I had to further optimize it. I think it's now better than ever, and you should absolutely try it, especially if you never tried it before. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, liking, subscribing and commenting really helps. It's free. I know it looks like a small thing, but it really changes how the algorithm works. So it really helps the channel. Other than that, thank you all for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye bye!